So I know this is way overdue, Sinbad in 55, but um, I was relying on email to see when this would come out because it's only being released like on time on certain websites, and so I had subbed to it, but I never got the email, so fuck. Anyway, let's start with 55 here, and then we're gonna move into 56. So in 55, basically, to begin with, they leave Artemira and the queen herself, or whatever, the matriarch, sends them off, and then she shows like all her children, which shocked Sinbad. But they're used to having a shit ton of children apparently, and the youngest daughter was able to took a liking to Sinbad because everybody likes Sinbad, and they leave. This chapter is very simple, but um, then they get to back to Shindria Trading Company, like I guess the big headquarters in the Lame Empire or the Rame Empire, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, they start to have a party and shit. And Sinbad makes a speech at the end saying like, it's gonna continue to grow and we're gonna make an ideal world basically with all the shit. And so yeah, this was ridiculously simple, but it was a good chapter because of Sinbad, obviously. Um, I enjoyed there was a decent amount of progression. I enjoyed everything in the chapter, especially the dialogue between the matriarch and Sinbad, Sinbad and everybody, and making fun of Mistress about him wanting a girlfriend and shit like that. It was pretty funny. So yeah, I'm gonna keep 55 brief, and then we're gonna move into 56. All right, so 56 had a little bit more meat to it than 55. So let's get into it. So it kind of started off with the party like 56 or 55 had left off with, and there wasn't much, but there was a little bit of planning involved as well, saying like where they're going to get the trade, um, talk about flight with the transportation and shit, all that kind of stuff. And then, the heart of the chapter was the fact that Drakon had come back and actually had Serendine as well, the princess from the place. You know the one. The place where Sinbad came from, that whole country that fell into Barbarossa's hands. But yeah, so Draken came back, and at first, obviously, they didn't recognize him. No shit. But after X amount of time and seeing his mannerisms, Sinbad figured out, oh crap, it's Drakon. What the hell happened to him? Or Dragol, however, you know. I say Drakon because that's what they call him, and that's how he calls himself in Magi, the main series. So yeah, there's that, and they basically set up a private room where only people who have shared Drakon's experience are listening to his conversation because everybody else would just judge him based on appearance, but the others know the real Drakon, and so I thought that was cool. It was obviously very good of Sinbad to do what he did. And let's see. So there was that, and then but Serendine is not happy because, as we know from like the very beginning of Sinbad Nabokin, he humiliated the shit out of her, and ultimately she blames him uh, for the fact that the place is no longer in Serendine's hands. I can't remember the fucking name, so you have to forgive me there. So she's pissed, and ultimately it seems like they're there to ask for the help to save the place, essentially. Um, so I think that's gonna be like the next like arc. I guess might be I think it might be a decently long arc where Shindria is now employed to save this country from because Barbaros didn't die, did he? I can't remember when Drakon turned into a Drake, or yeah, Drake I would call it, but when he turned into like a Drake, I don't think he died, or what did I don't remember. But what I do know is they need to save the country, which is why they're there. Otherwise, Serendina would not be there. So yeah, there's that, and so I think that's what's coming up. Um, Even though sometimes, I mean, the updates on this manga are somewhat irregular, but for the most part, it's once a week or two or three. So we'll get there pretty quickly, I think. I don't know how long this is supposed to run, but we'll see. Anyway, this was a good chapter. I enjoyed everything with Drakon and, of course, Sinbad and the stuff with Serendina was fine. And so, yeah, I mean, it was a good chapter and can't wait for more.